Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of White Cotton Quilts. I'm Roxanne. So if you've been following along, and I know there's only like, 3 videos up on the YouTube account, but if you've been following along, the first 2 videos was all about how to thread sewing machines. So now that you've got your sewing machine all threaded, you can't just dive into sewing. You have to have something to sew, right? So this next couple of videos is going to be all about how to cut your fabric, how to read a pattern, and in this case we're going to do one of my patterns. So this one is called Gaining Altitude. It is available on my Etsy shop, which is going to be White Cotton Quilt with no S. And you can get it in a paper version, which is going to look something like this if you prefer a paper, or you can get it in a PDF version and have it right away without having to wait for the mail to get it to you, and the prices on them are about the same. So let's dive into this, right? So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need your supplies. So in this case with my Gaining Altitude, I do recommend that you get a Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer for it. So let me show you what that looks like. These are the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmers. I discovered these through another YouTuber video, and these have been a godsend. They have completely changed the accuracy of my half square triangles, and it's to the point where almost everything I do lines up perfectly. So these are going to be awesome if you're a beginner and you're not sure how to trim stuff correctly. These are a godsend. So it comes in an A and a B. The A comes in, and I'm not going to show them on camera because it's not going to show them, but the A goes from 6.5 to a smallest is 1.5. Now don't forget that 1/2 inch increment is your seam allowance, so it's going to finish down after your seam allowance. It's going to finish to 1, and the 6.5 is going to finish to 6. So that's what this one goes. And then the B is going to be all of your 1/2 increments. So if you have a pattern that, say, has a piece that wants it to finish at a 1/2 increment, and sometimes there are some out there, I don't like to, but there are some out there. So this one goes from, again, 6 inches, which means it's going to finish at 5.5. And all the way down to 2 inches, which is going to finish at 1.5. So a super tiny half square triangle. These are awesome, and I will explain when we get into the cutting how to use these, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The other thing you're going to need is your handy dandy rotary cutter. Make sure you have a fresh blade on this, and please don't cut your fingers. And then you're going to need a cutting mat, and you're going to need some rulers. Now, these are just some of the ones I have because you can see they come in all different sizes, all different widths, and I'm just going to show you some of my favorites because that's what I use the most. You're going to want to just typically pick one that makes sense to your brain, and I think my favorite one that I started out with was one like this, real basic. This one is 5 inches wide, which is typically a pretty good size to have when you're doing quilting like I am, and it goes all the way to, I think, 24 inches, so it's pretty big. Not all of my stuff is going to be this big. I don't use this one a lot. My favorite ones to use are these, and I do have a smaller one of this that's only like 7 inches, but these are 2.5. This one's 2.5 inches wide, which is my favorite to use because I deal with a lot of 2.5 inch strips. That's what I like to quilt with and make quilt with, is the 2.5 inch strips. So this one is one of my favorites to use, and I do have a smaller one that's only 2.5 by 7, so if I get down to littler stuff I can have it. This one is a 5-inch. So it's only 5, but see, it's super short. Unlike that other one, it was 5 inches and big. This one's short. I like this one too, so I don't have to have that big length. Both of those are by Missouri Star Quilt Company. I love these rulers. These are my absolute favorite go-to rulers. So now that you've got that, and you've got your cutting mat, and you got your rulers, and you got your blades, then you can start getting into the cutting and get started on your quilt making. So I'm gonna start doing that. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our pattern. And you can see that the fabric requirements are here, so you can choose what kind of fabrics you want to use. So in this case, if you're using a layer cake, you'll need one of those. If you're using fat quarters, you're going to need 12 to 18. And if you're using yardage, you're going to need 4.5 yards total of multiple fabrics. So I chose, with this version that I'm doing, I chose to use Tula Pinks by Free Spirit Fabrics. This is her new Moon Garden line. Very beautiful line, guys. So we're going to break this open. And I usually just like to tear it open. I am not very gentle. So we're going to tear this one open. So here is our layer cake, which is a pack of 10-inch squares. So the first thing it says that we need to do is we are going to pick out 8 squares. Now it says 9 1/4. These are 10-inch squares. So that means we're going to do a little cutting down. So I'm going to, because these are going to make the big flying geese units, I'm going to choose the prettiest fabrics to be in these big geese units because I don't want to lose these beautiful blooms. So I think I'm going to choose for my 8. I'm going to choose that one. Oh, we might as well just do both of those. And oh, we're going to do this one for some color variation. Oh, and they did include the okay, so we're going to do the black variation. That's pretty. And they gave us the purple colorway, so we're going to do one of those. So there's 4. I'm going to pull that out because those are just too pretty. And they actually gave us 3 of those. So we may end up having more of that colorway in this quilt if I can get it apart. Let's see what else we got in here. There's a dragonfly. I'm going to do one of those. And I'm going to pull the other one out for another. And what else do we got? Oh, we got an owl. I love that owl. We're going to do that. And pull the other one out. They have actually gave us quite a good bit of the big prints in this layer cake. So that's awesome. Let's see, what are we up to? 2, 3, 4, there's 5. Oh, we gotta have the other colorway. 6. Seven. One more, y'all. One more. I can either do another owl in the pink, or I can do one of the other ones that I've pulled out. But I mean, since I've got aquas and stuff, going on here and greens. I think if I did the pink owl, it might look out of place, but we'll go for it anyways. Okay. We'll just go for it anyways. We'll see what that, if we like it. Okay. No, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't like the way that looks. We're gonna pull him out. And since I've got 2 of the green kablooms, I'm gonna do 2 of that. And I'll save that for a different one. Okay. So now that we've got all of those chosen that we want for our big giant flying geese units, now we get into the cutting. So I'm going to take these, let's move this off to the side. So I'm going to take these and we have to cut them to 9 1/4 inches. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we have to cut this to 9 1/4 inches. Now this 10-inch square, you notice, has the pinked edges, and we're going to treat the points of those edges like the edge of the piece, and you'll understand what I'm talking about in just a second. So we are going to cut this to 9 1/4, or I'm sorry, it should be 9 1/2. Why I've got 9 1/4 on there? I will have to fix that. 9 1/2 inches, guys. Actually, nope, that's right, because I'm doing 4 at a time. I'm thinking 1 at a time. So we're doing 4 at a time flying geese here. So this is a newer method and I have not done it often enough to get it right. But anyways, so we're going to do 9 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 1/4 is these little dots right here. And since I'm left-handed, I'm kind of going to try to do it as like I was a right-handed person, but since I'm left-handed, I usually like to do this way, but if you're right-handed, you want to do on this side. But so I'm going to line up my ruler on those dots. And we're going to take our blade and we're going to run the blade right along this ruler very carefully. And you notice I'm holding this ruler down and I've got my fingers kind of spread out and my thumb back here. That is so the ruler doesn't slide anywhere. So you want to gently push to hold it in place and run your blade. Now we did it to one side, we have to do it to this side too. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 1/4 is going to be right here. And I like to, when I'm coming from this direction, because I'm left-handed, I like to leave the dots and a little under the dots, so I give myself a little bit of wiggle room when I'm sewing. Think of this as cutting hair. You can always take more off, but you can't put it back. And so I always give myself a little bit of wiggle room. And there we go. I'm gonna save these scraps because my mom likes to do scrappy stuff with my tulip pink. So these scraps are getting thrown in a little scrap bin down here for her to use for stuff. So now we've got that. And that's how you cut the first step. And I'm not going to do all the cutting today. I will probably do a little bit today, and then tomorrow I'll show you how to cut the background pieces. And then we will actually get into some of the sewing. So that's a little bit of how to cut the fabric. The principle for everything that you do is going to be the same. I will say that the next video I will show you how to cut the background fabric and it's a little bit different because you're cutting through more layers and more width of fabric. And so there's certain tricks that you have to do, certain methods you have to do to keep your fabric from having this kind of wonky wave in it. And I will show you how to do those in another video, guys, because I don't want this video to be super duper long. But please remember, if you have any questions about your cutting methods, or like I said, if you want to get your own copy of my pattern and follow along, please do that. I will be more than happy to put a link below this video that'll lead you to this pattern so you can purchase your own. This pattern is gorgeous, guys, when it's done. Actually, right now I don't have my example of this pattern because the quilt is currently on my bed. But that quilt I did do multiple pictures of on my Instagram and on my Facebook page. So if you'd like to see those, that's once again White Cotton Quilts on Facebook, or it's whitecotton_quilts on Instagram, and you can see all of the pictures of this quilt that I've done in the past. Also, you can see some of my tester patterns, and they are gorgeous. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I hope to see you guys following along. And what else am I forgetting, guys? You know, I think that's it for this video. If you think of anything I'm forgetting, let me know, because I'm gonna get down to working on this one, and hopefully I'll have another video for you sooner than this one. If you like this content and you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me. And please go follow my Instagram and like, share, all the good things with this. And I will see you guys later. Thanks.